So this is day 19 of NaNoWriMo. I know I haven't filmed in a while. I've been kind of focused on getting the writing done and not really living up to my promise of daily content. That's something I've always kind of struggled with, whether it was writing on the blog or trying to film this kind of stuff. I think it's because I'm just struggling to sort of juggle already the writing with everything else in my life. You know, I'm trying to get enough writing done that I can keep moving forward and feel like my writing is getting better, but it's also leading to falling behind in other things. So even though I think I haven't uploaded in 2 weeks, I think it was important to do one today. Mainly because I took a day off on Saturday. It wasn't really planned, it kind of just happened. I had people over from far away who I don't get to see very often. I think it had been 3 years since I'd seen them. People I grew up with and I really wanted to spend some real time with. And I think it was about 9 p.m. on that first day that they came that I realized I hadn't written anything that day and that I wasn't going to write anything that day. And in the grand scheme of things of, you know, getting my 50,000 words in by November 30th, it's not going to change much. Unless I have a couple really bad days all in a row, I'm still going to get my 50,000. You know, I'm writing at a rhythm of 2,000 words a day. Permítame. Whiny kitty. So, if I keep going at my regular rhythm, I'm still going to be done what I need to be done on time. I'm not too worried about that. You know, if I can keep my 5 pages up, I'll be fine. It's really just a matter of my rhetoric. A big part of my rhetoric as a writer-to-be, if you will, is to write every day. I stick to this so hard that I've already sort of imagined myself in a position where I'll be answering questions from people who want to be writers, and then my first question to them would be, do you write every day? Because I know that for me, in my progress, in my path, when I made the switch to writing every day, which was last NaNoWriMo, I think my writing was improving at a rate that I hadn't expected. I look back now on the process that I undertook to write my first book, and I compare it to what I'm doing now, and I already feel like there's some pitfalls that I just kind of jump over. There's, you know, all these other traps that I'm avoiding. Even though I'm doing largely the same thing as last year, I'm writing a first draft without any preparation except thinking about the idea for a couple months. I actually had a false start where I, you know, started one idea, a book that was supposed to be more serious than this one I'm writing, and it just didn't work, and I got started on this other thing, but that idea had been going around my head for months. Besides that preparation, that's it. I mean, there's no outline, there's no character sheets, anything like that to this book. In this process that I did, I'm just getting the story out, you know. But even though I don't have much preparation, I can already tell that this first draft, in some ways, is going to be better than last year's. If only because I feel that I'm getting to know these characters more quickly than I got to know the characters from the other book. The one pitfall, the one disadvantage of this first draft in comparison to the other one is I don't have as good of an idea where the story's going. I get caught up in some things where it feels like I'm meandering around and I'm doing things that don't necessarily need to be done the way that they're being done, and it means I'll have a lot of cutting, a lot of rewriting to do on the second draft. But that's future Nick's problem. So back to the day off. So I took that day off on Saturday. On Sunday, my guests left to go home, and on that day I got, I think it was 6 pages done. I want to get at least one extra to start catching up. And I felt invigorated when I got back into it. I didn't feel guilty. I felt a little bit guilty on the day of, But on the day after, when I started writing again, I didn't feel that guilt. I just kind of plowed through it, and it was a real great time. I really enjoyed it. And the secret's probably the wrong term. It's kind of clickbaity, sort of writers hate his secret to being famous. But I guess this thing that's sort of overlooked that people don't realize is writing isn't fun every day. If you write every day, you're not going to have fun every day. Some days just feel like a slog, like you're trudging through a swamp, just trying to get your page count, your word count, however you track your progress, and you're just trying to cross that border. It feels less like the joyous sprint to the finish line and more like the sagging middle of a marathon. Your nipples start chafing and your toes are bleeding, your toenails are falling off, but you still gotta push on through this terrible analogy. And there's a lot of those days. There's more than I expected, I think. When I started doing this, I started doing it because I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I wanted to do something that made me feel proud, something that I could work at daily and feel like I was doing something important, or something that I enjoyed, something that felt like it came from in here. And it wasn't just this thing that got filtered through my brain and then came out so that I could just sort of keep on surviving in the real world. So when I came back from that day off, I was invigorated, and it was a good day, and I've had a couple good writing days in a row. So I'm finding that taking that break, that day off, has been really beneficial. And I think probably because of the business people I listen to, the motivational speakers, all that, I'm listening to writers less and less, and business type people more and more, because writers can teach me how to write, but these other guys who hustle can teach me how to hustle, because my goal is to write like the best damn writer out there, but hustle like a dude who's trying to get a business off the ground, because that's essentially what I'm trying to do. Even if I'm aiming at traditional publishing, I'm still basically running a business. I'm running a brand. I'm trying to start something, trying to prove that I'm more than just a guy who can hit keys really fast, because there's a lot of those, and I gotta stand out. So taking that day off has shown me that it's not all about hustle. I try my best to hustle as much as I can every day, essentially, but having that day off to come sort of, to sort of come down and sort of, I guess, stabilize. Sometimes it feels like I'm running really high on a hustle scale and then really low on an energy scale, and then that day off sort of brought them both back towards the middle. Maybe I should take more days off. I'm not sure yet. I maybe shouldn't have jumped into a second book right away. I mean, I looked at the file for my last book, and it was last edited on October 31st, and on November 1st I jumped into this new book. Well, the book before this one. So maybe I shouldn't have jumped into something new right as I finished the last thing. I think that might be something that's going to come and bite me in the ass eventually. But right now I can't really fathom going back to the first book. I do need to find a way to set more time aside to work on getting that book out there, the one that's finished, getting an agent, getting it placed, because that alone can take a lot of time. I've been working on my query, my synopsis, which are somehow a lot harder than writing the actual book, but I'm getting closer to something that's worth sending out. And I just want to get into that so that I feel like it's moving forward. It's not just going to get put in a drawer and forgotten. I know that first books are usually trash, and people usually kind of get rid of them, get it out of the system so they can write the good one, but I still want to make an attempt at getting it published. I'm a really bad judge of my own work, and although I feel I've put I've put as much as I can into this book, I need somebody else to tell me whether it's good or whether it's garbage. And it might as well be a professional who makes a living going through slush piles and representing authors. So it's really important for me to get that book out there, to sort of finish the process. I was really motivated to get the first draft done, the second draft, and then sort of lagged on the third draft, but got it done. But I don't think that journey for that book's going to be complete until I hit that line where it's either accepted and gets published or gets rejected so many times that I realize that there's no market for it. So now I'm going to be doing this sort of juggling act where I'm writing this new book and trying to get the old one placed. I also need to make time for this kind of stuff. One of my friends who came down over the weekend, she's an artist. I'm going to put a link to her Instagram here or there, wherever there's more room. I love her art. Actually, I have a piece by her hanging up in my house, my mom's house. It's my mom's piece in my mom's house. But I walk by it almost every day, and I really enjoy that. No, she does great stuff. And anyway, she was here on the weekend, and we sort of started talking about our struggle, because it's actually kind of similar, even though we're in very different subsections of the arts. You know, going through a day job, even though it sucks, just to finance our dreams, what we want to do, living with a parent while we're trying to get this done, and we're the same age, so we're sort of in that same cranny of the 20s where you're supposed to start getting your eggs in a row, your ducks in a row, your ducks in a row, so that you can sort of line up your life and start living your life. You know, you get the spouse, the children, the house, or the whatever, however you want to order it. But you're supposed to be doing some of that, and neither of us really are. But it was refreshing to sort of talk about our similarities, because I sort of have a bad habit of putting myself in a bubble and isolating myself when I work. And she ended up telling me that that my podcast, which I haven't contributed to in a long time, was really helpful to her. It made her feel like, well, like she wasn't alone. She could relate to someone who's going through the same stuff. So I really want to put more of a focus going forward into this kind of content, because even though I can't teach people to write, because I'm still teaching myself to write, I do think I can at least document what I'm going through to sort of provide a comparison point, maybe reassure people that they're not alone going through this stuff. You know, if just knowing that she felt that way, that I could help her feel less alone and less demotivated, that's reason enough to do it. So I really need to get serious about making room for this content in my schedule. I think that's where I want to end today's sort of video diary of sorts. NaNoWriMo's going well. I haven't really hit any hard hurdles. I've sort of hit those speed bumps that you get where I think to myself that the book is complete trash and writing it's not going to amount to anything. But I have to sort of remind myself that it's not as bad as I think it is. It never really is. And that even if it is bad, it's still going to get me closer to something good. I'll end this by saying that if you want to support what I'm doing, don't subscribe, don't like, don't comment. Well, you maybe comment if you have an opinion. I like differing opinions and devil's advocate type stuff. But I'd much rather that you go to my Movember page. As you can see from my stylish scruff, I'm participating in Movember this year, and I'd like to get at least one donation going to say that I contributed to the cause. Movember is about men's health, so much as it is cancer, as suicide, to just sort of bring attention to things that men have to deal with that don't really get talked about a lot. And I want to make this month really about something other than myself, about giving back, doing a little bit each day to help out someone else. So if you're inclined to help, you have money to burn, please go donate to my Movember page. Obviously I don't get anything out of it. Why would I? It goes straight to the organization and the people they help. I'd really appreciate it, and I thank you if you do. And even if you don't and you feel like you can't, maybe if you share the link. I'm not going to ask you to share the whole video. I know this is pretty niche stuff within a niche, but if you can share the donation link and encourage people to donate, even if it's not mine, even if it's just the site itself, that's just only going to help, and I'd really appreciate that. Thank you for listening, for watching, and if you like this content, I'm going to do my best to give you some more. So yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.